You're tuned into God Talks television program with your host, Apostle Sabrina Lewis. Join us now as we share real and inspirational stories of God Talks.
Welcome to the God Talk television program where I am your host, Dr. Apostle Sabrina Lewis. We want to welcome you again. Glory be to God. God is talking. It's all about hearing God's voice. Hallelujah. Glory be to God. And God will guide you through everything. We just bless the Lord today. We're so excited today because I have a very amazing guest from Burke County, Georgia. I could just get excited because that's home for me. And that is Miss Bettianne Hart Childers. We bless God for you.
Thank you. So happy to be here with you today.
Yes, ma'am. I've always admired you. I mean, the lawyer, the judge, all the things, McCall's mama, all those things, right? So we just bless God that you're here today. I want you to tell the audience a little bit about yourself.
Well, as you said, I am a native Burke Countyan, although I was telling people I was actually born in a hospital in Jenkins County. But Burke County is my home. I grew up here. I finished Waynesboro High and Industrial School in 1965.
Wow.
I received my bachelor's at Spelman College. A few years later, 1969, I went to social work school immediately after graduation because those were the opportunities that were available to women then.
Yeah.
If you finished college, you were teachers, you were social workers, very limited in what you could do. And then after some urging from God, I obtained my degree in law from the University of Denver.
Yes.
And I've been practicing law now for over 46 years.
Yes, ma'am. And then when you said that, that was just so awesome because I can just hear even in all of that, you had to overcome a lot of stuff. But one of the things I just heard you say, which was a God talk moment, destiny awaited you, that the Lord led you into the law school, into the law arena, and you became that lawyer.
Right. That was an interesting experience. I was out of college for 7 years before I went to law school.
Wow.
And when I was growing up here in Burke County, I had a brother who wanted to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And we expected him to be a lawyer. Mm-hmm. And so I had my dreams kind of wrapped up in his.
Oh, wow.
To help him. But he was killed in a car accident when he was 18. Mm-hmm. And so after working 7 years and trying to decide what was going to be my next move, because I was on the staff at Spelman College, and you know, everybody at the college level, you either have a PhD,
yeah,
or what have you. But God put law on my heart. It was something that talking about, my class always said we were changes. We were change agents, because it seemed like the world changed when we got to a certain point.
Oh, wow.
Okay, so you heard me say 1965, which was a very significant year. That was the passage of the Civil Rights Acts.
Wow.
It was also the time when universities began to recruit black students more.
Okay.
It was when women were being encouraged to go into different occupations and what have you. Mm-hmm. So one of my jobs at Spelman was Director of Career Planning and Placement, where I worked with women students. We were all women. It's a women's college, in terms of helping them define their career goals and what they wanted to do and what was available. And a lot of occupations were new. Things were just opening up. And so I was actually there long enough to have students graduate from college and finish law school.
Oh, wow.
And so that's what made me start thinking about it. I had, when I graduated from college, I was president of the Student Government Association there. So I received a letter from Howard University encouraging me to apply for law school.
That is huge.
You know, it was new to me, and I went to my college dean and I asked him, okay, so what's this about law school? And my brother was still alive then. And he said, Well, you have to have a high masculinity index. Well, I think in Spelman there was one woman that we knew of who was a lawyer, and she was the first woman admitted to the bar in Mississippi, Marion Wright Edelman. So that was what we knew about a lawyer. But anyway, this high masculinity index, I didn't know what that meant.
Yeah, what does that mean?
But it didn't sound good, right?
Yeah.
Well, what I later came to understand, it meant that this is what they considered masculine, and this is my dean, who I love dearly, but he was off the point here. You had to be able to think logically. You had to be organized. You had to be able to debate. You had to be able to question. You had to be able to keep you cool. You couldn't fly off the handle and everything. And these were supposed to be masculine traits.
Yeah, that like men. Not as opposed to a woman couldn't do that.
Right.
But it sounded like a woman to me.
Yeah. So this is the journey, right? So this was what discouraged me. Just think now, if I had applied to Harvard at that time when money was flowing, I'd have been, but anyway, that was not God's plan for my life.
Okay.
And so my idea was to go to School of Social Work, get out and work so I could help my brother go to law school. But that was not God's plan.
Wow.
And so 7 years, and sure enough, when I went to law school, I was a member of a class, the largest class of women that Emory University
at Emory
University School of Law had ever admitted. And there were so many women there who were just like me. Many were wives of lawyers and doctors, and they got divorced when they told their husbands they wanted to go to law school.
It affected even their homes, their marriage.
Yeah, the whole idea of them wanting to be a lawyer. And the school, I had McCall by then, my daughter.
Yeah.
And they were just not accustomed to dealing with us. But anyway, my professor, my boss, who was president of this college, said, if you wait another year, I'll pay for your first year of law school.
Whoa, that's huge.
But I said, no, I got to go. Lord says I got to go to law school. And so I did. The day I resigned, I went home, and there I had no money.
How you go to law school with no money? God, right?
And right. There was a check in my mailbox for $800, which was a lot of money that time. It didn't do a lot in terms of law school, but it was confirmation to me.
Yeah.
And I got that $800 every year, every semester I was in law school. But someone who knew me from a college student knew that I was head of a foundation and the Earl Warren Legal Fund. And
God was providing for the vision.
I didn't apply for anything.
And for the assignment.
And that was confirmation.
Ooh, that's really amazing.
That was confirmation. So anyway, I've had a very distinguished law career. I don't like to talk about myself.
But we want you to talk about yourself because I say you're a history maker, change maker, and all that good stuff. You are indeed that, and definitely someone that I've admired and always, even just growing up and just seeing the accomplishment because it inspires others. Yeah.
Well, I guess that's what I want to talk about today.
Yeah.
Because it's all God.
Yes.
It's all God's plan for my life. It was me being obedient.
Yeah.
He's opened doors that I didn't knock on.
Oh, glory to God.
You just open the doors, as you said.
The door opened at its own accord. That's like in the book of Acts.
Right.
Yeah.
When I came to Burke County, my husband was Air Force, so when he'd go on leads, I'd come back home.
Oh, okay.
So in the early 80s, 1982, we were leaving Denver, where I'm living, and NPR came on the radio. And I was getting ready to come back home so he could go on a temporary duty assignment in Alaska, I think it was that time. And this president of a national organization announced, came in because we had just won the Lodge versus Rogers lawsuit, which was a lawsuit that Mr. Herman Lodge, my daddy, a few other people went to the Supreme Court.
Here from Burke County.
From Burke County. And the lawsuit went to the Supreme Court because they couldn't elect any black elected officials here.
Oh, wow. In Burke County.
People were running for office, but they were all at-large elections. And so if you were in your community, you didn't have the opportunity to vote for people that you know or who were from your community. And so they took that case to the Supreme Court, and we won it. And it changed. Yes, it changed elections throughout the nation.
Did that have anything to do with Gloria Sullivan? I know she was very actively involved. I just had Minister Kenya was on, and she brought that up. And
Gloria Sullivan.
I think she's the only one living.
Was one of the plaintiffs, along with
yes, ma'am.
My father, about 5 or 6 people, and they said they couldn't win the lawsuit.
Oh, wow!
But because in Alabama they had a case that had gone against them, but they went to the Supreme Court, and that is why, because of that case that came out of Burke County, that we have black elected officials now, because it meant that you could elect city councilmen, you could elect commissioners, you could elect state representatives that actually look like you or that come out of your communities.
Wow. And you know what? I told everybody you were the history person. You are the historian. You're sitting up here with all this rich information that we wouldn't be privileged to had it not been for you. So I'm telling you, just you sharing that, because that came up before about that lawsuit. We don't really always know the history of what has opened the door, paved the way for us and other people that are coming generations later. Your work is affecting lives because you heard God talk.
Heard God talk. And I want to give a shout out to the ministers.
Yeah.
Ministers in Burke County helped organize a bus trip to the United States Supreme Court in Washington, D.C. And they rode all night on this chartered bus. And when they were having the oral argument in front of the justices of the Supreme Court, it's the same thing this man was saying coming out of Denver. And he said, if Burke County black people had gone out to vote, they wouldn't have to bring a lawsuit. They could win, blah, blah. He didn't know what was happening in rural communities. But anyway, the opposing counsel said the same thing in D.C.
Yeah.
And he said, well, if black people had born elected officials, all they had to do was go out and vote. And they just didn't
sound like some of the stuff that's going on right now.
Right. And so the Supreme Court justice, one of the Supreme Court justices, then leaned over and looked at him and said, they not interested in what's happening? He said, no, blah, blah, blah. He said, so who are those people back there? And as the door opened, the ministers from Burke County, tell me it's not a God thing, the ministers from Burke County piled in.
Oh, that is so amazing.
It was a major historical moment. And I think Gloria may be the only one who's here now.
Yeah, that's what Minister Kenya was telling me. And in fact, they're planning some kind of honor for her. She's the only one now that's living out of all of that. And that is amazing.
Well, let me tell you a little bit more about the God's plan. Okay?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm leaving, and so they gave 6 weeks to organize an election in Burke County for people to get qualified to vote and what have you, and to turn out. And so this man was basically saying, you know, what can they do in 6 weeks that they haven't done in all these years? And I said, not on my watch. And so I had gone to, I've never been a social worker, but I have all the training. And so I had finished Boston University, and I had a class on how to organize a legislative campaign, how to organize campaigns. And so I came back and I met with Mr. Lodge and Mr. Woodrow Harvey and Reverend Jerry Smith, who were running for office. And we organized a campaign. Oh. Okay, we organized, I was their campaign organizer. But, you know, here I am coming back home from Denver, Colorado.
Oh, wow.
And we had 6 weeks to do that. And when they say you can't, we had a 96% voter turnout in some places.
That is huge.
And that was because, and that's not our figures, those figures came from the Justice Department, because the Justice Department monitored the elections that day and counted all the people, the voters. And so it was acclaimed across the nation, And
So Burke County's making national history.
Oh, yes, yes. And so, like I said, we are the reason. And so we elected 2 black county commissioners and 1 in the runoff.
Oh, wow.
But that case is taught in law school as the landmark case that opened the door to district voting, so that minorities, black people who lived in your neighborhoods, that would be drawn so that people could vote and elect somebody that was close to you, that knew about you.
This was huge, because one of the things I could remember, and this is just God, this is so God. I remember Commissioner Lodge sharing with us, and then she was talking and speaking at one of the bridge events of the persecution that came to her dad and their family, and the threats, and they also came to her mom. Gloria Sullivan had the same thing, and they had to actually be protected, and they would call them out of Washington to check on them, and all this stuff is connected.
All of this is connected.
Wow.
Yes, all of this.
That is like, and you wouldn't think, because I got, y'all receive threats, they receive death threats.
Oh, definitely. In fact, putting your name on that lawsuit, which is published, that's public information.
Public information.
If you worked in certain settings, that, your job was threatened. Most people were afraid to put their names on lawsuits, because they knew that may mean that they or their spouse, and Mr. Lodge's, Mrs. Lodge and my mother were teachers.
Yes.
And when people saw their names on there, they always automatically thought, oh, you're going to lose your job.
Yeah.
And
so the threats and the things that people had to endure wasn't even just, it was just a lot of ramifications of what could happen. And in my whole heart, I'm thinking of fear. People would try to use the fear tactic, but God and deliverance and fear, and you had to be fearless to be doing the stuff you were doing.
Oh, I can remember when I was a child, because of all the stuff my father was involved in. I remember when he got a call. Somehow or another, he'd always get a call. And he wasn't there, but my mother, my brother, and I were there. And we got a call that the Klan was on their way to our house.
Oh, wow.
And my mom turned off the lights. And sure enough, this row of cars. I was a young girl, and so I had to tiptoe to see the window. You look out the window and you see we were the only house on 25 then, and the this parade of cars.
Wow.
And then what struck me, they had neon lights. They had a neon cross. I was really good with it as a little girl.
Yeah,
what is a neon?
What does that mean?
But anyway, they drove out, and I saw the cross, this caravan of cars.
Wow.
And I was talking to my mother, and my mama said, "Oh, I'll go knock that cross down."
Oh, wow.
My mother was fearless.
But fearless, and that's and it had to be your faith.
Yeah.
It had to be God.
Yeah, we're the only ones out there. And so those kinds of things, like I said, this is much earlier than that. But those are the kinds of intimidation tactics that they use.
And things that you endure. But God had a plan. And even as you progress, when did you become judge? That's
okay,
exciting.
so
a lawyer, judge,
yeah,
you're all over the place.
But it does show God's plan. It's nothing that you can imagine. So we got those county commissioners elected. And so I stayed here a couple of years, and then I went back, on tour with my husband then. And so in 19 about 8 years later, my mom was sick, and I was trying to get here to take care of her. And this court suit was over, and census had been taken, and they were redrawing the districts for state representatives. And I was talking to Mr. Lodge, and I said, so what are we going to do? We got this black district here, this majority black district, and so we decided that. So I jokingly said, if you draw a district, I'll run for it. And so I was elected. I became the first woman and first black from this district to represent Burke County.
Oh, wow.
In the House of Representatives.
That's huge.
And that's when I had opened my law office and what have you was here.
History maker.
And here again, it had never been done. And it was actually the young people here, people like Natalie, for example, my daughters, who ran my campaign because the adults didn't think I could win.
But God knew you could. He had a plan.
He had a plan. And it was just saying, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, I'll do. And so after that, after I had been reelected a couple of times, a position was open for a Superior Court judgeship here in Atlanta. And because I was in the legislature, and the legislators convinced Governor Zell Miller to appoint me to Superior Court judgeship.
Wow.
And so I sold my business to my law partner and closed up my practice and was appointed Superior Court judge.
Now you judge.
And I became the first woman, not the first black woman, I became the first woman Superior Court judge.
Just breaking barriers.
In this judicial circuit,
But,
and so, and I prayed. I said, okay, Lord, if this is what you want me to do, because I was perfectly satisfied doing what I was doing. And so I was appointed, and but judges have to stand for election. And in fact, I was in the legislature when we created the district. And not thinking that I was going to, try to. So, I had that honor. I was able to serve. And then we led in the election. I got the most votes.
Look at God.
But we had 3 people running.
Okay.
And so we had to come back for a runoff. And people didn't come back for the runoff.
That happens sometimes.
And so that.
Quite a bit, though. With the runoff.
Right. So that was like, okay. So I lost the runoff, and here I am. Okay, Lord, got 48% of the vote, 48.9, but you got to get 51. Here I've closed my law practice. I've had this judgeship. They used to say, the pinnacle, the highest you can go.
Yes, ma'am.
What do you want me to do now? Why did you take me out of my,
That's a God talk. What you want me to do now? I bet a lot of people done had that, Mama. What do you want now?
Why did you take me out of my seat? I'm in debt, I was back home where I wanted to be. What do I do now? And a friend of mine had told me to save my money. So those last 4 months, I saved all my money.
Okay.
So basically, I was in the bed. Come January, I was in the bed,
Yeah.
And, what am I supposed to do now? And had no clue.
Glory to God. Sometimes we don't. But only God.
Only God. And had sort of reached the top of your profession.
Yes,
Not
ma'am.
sort of, had reached the top of your profession. Where do you go from here?
Yes, ma'am.
And so God throws you some curves, right?
Well, there's some swerves and curves.
Yeah.
I talk about that in this book, Swerves and Curves. It's a journey.
But you always have to know that He's in charge and that He has a plan.
Yes.
So I felt sorry for myself and laid up and slept for a few months. But I got this call from a friend of mine, Paul Howard, who had been elected the first black district attorney in the state of Georgia.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, Paul is from Burke County, too.
Oh, Burke County native.
Grew up in Midville.
Yeah.
And he called me twice. Come up and see me. I need to talk with you. And I said, oh, okay, I'll see you sometime. And the third time he says, Bettianne, why are you dissing me? So I'm not dissing you. Okay, I'll come see you. And when you understand that he was the only black district attorney in the state of Georgia at the time, there were 5,500 district attorneys in the United States.
Wow.
There were 5 black district attorneys.
That's
in the United States.
Yeah,
so he was one of 5.
That is amazing.
And
you just seeing God do all these great things. That's amazing.
Yeah. And so that was my assignment at that period of time. He gave me 4 jobs. And when I retired, they had to have 4 people to replace me.
Oh, wow.
But when they say enlarge your territory,
yes, ma'am.
We built a district attorney's office that was fair.
Yes, ma'am.
They said black people didn't want to be assistant district attorneys, so he put me in charge of recruitment. So I traveled the nation talking with law students, talking with people, because what they don't understand is district attorneys make the decisions.
Yeah.
You have defense attorneys who go in and ask for a plea and try to do.
Yeah.
But district attorneys decide what you are charged with. Yeah. They decide whether or not to present it or agree to the plea. They decide what to charge.
And you know what? This is God's doing. We're going to have more conversation because this broadcast is not enough. So it's amazing how God works, because I have one more opening.
Oh my!
We got to continue this conversation because I would want to get into the information about how God's even wanting you to chronicle the history. But right now, we thank everybody for joining us here on God Talk. Y'all going to have to come back for the continuation because we're going to have this woman of God back here to talk more about God Talk because she's given so much history. But even now, we're in a season, and I can honestly say where God is doing a lot of firsts. And I was first in some things, and I'm hearing all these firsts with you. And I believe God is doing major things in the lives of his people where we're breaking barriers. So we want to thank you for joining us here on God Talk. I want to thank you. I know we were ending like this, but we're coming back.
Okay.
And I thank God for you joining us here on God Talk. Y'all make sure y'all tune in because she's coming back.
This broadcast has been brought to you by God Talk's Covenant Partners. For broadcast sponsorships, prayer requests, or to be a guest on the program, connect with us on our website at ApostleSabrinaCLewis.com or write us and send your contributions to God Talks television program, 151 Winter Road, Hepzibah, Georgia, 30815.